here at ringside for the heavyweight fight live between Johnny Boudreaux, the youngster born in Lafayette, Louisiana, from Houston, Texas now, against Scott LeDoux, the colorful French-Canadian from Minnesota, who has as much fun, and sometimes it seems losing fights, as he does in winning them. Ask George Foreman, who did away with Scott in 3 rounds. But Scott's the kind of guy, against a youngster like Boudreaux, who dreams of moving on up someday to a championship shot, Scott's the kind of guy who should provide a testing challenge and then some. At least we hope so. Tell us about LeDoux.
LeDoux is misleading. His record is very misleading. He has lost some, but he hasn't been on the canvas that many times. He's intending to get out there and give 100% account of himself, and
our official,
he's going to put up a good show.
From Washington, D.C., our doctor at ringside, Dr. Irving.
Johnny Boudreaux was very, very highly regarded on his way up, unbeaten, slick of feet and slick of hands, quick. And then suddenly at the Nassau Coliseum on the Foreman Frazier undercard, he had a bad night and lost a split decision to another youngster named Howard Smith. And so perhaps there's been a tendency to discount him, to discount Boudreaux because of that one defeat. But that's part of the purpose of this tournament, to find out about these youngsters. And we'll get a chance to study Boudreaux today and find out if that was just one bad night against Howard Smith, or if he's on his way back rather than on his way up. Boudreaux against LeDoux.
They're going to be talking to one another, that's for sure.
LeDoux talks to anybody and everybody.
He may get insulted verbally before the fight is over.
So it's LeDoux in the blue trunks, Johnny Boudreaux, the black fighter, in the yellow trunks. The bell for round 1. Joe Buncer of Washington, D.C., the referee. Scoring on a round system. Boudreaux likes to use the left. Lead with the left steadily. Keep the opponent at bay with it. LeDoux will surprise you from time to time. Fighting from a half crouch with short movements. There'll be occasional right leads.
Which is his best punch, the right lead.
First round action. Heavyweight division, United States Boxing Championship Series, live from the Halsey Fieldhouse, United States Naval Academy. Named after Admiral William Bull Halsey, of course, who was aboard the Missouri at the time the Japanese finally surrendered. Admiral Nimitz was there. He was commander of the fleet. Round 1. What a long history of boxing as a sport at the Naval Academy. For 35 years, they had a coach here named Spike Webb. When boxing was an intercollegiate sport on a national level, the Navy had 11 undefeated seasons, 6 national champions. I don't know if you caught that. Explain what Joe Buncer said to LeDoux and what LeDoux answered back, George.
I didn't completely understand the conversation, but I know what it's leading to. He's trying to make the young man, Boudreaux, throw punches so he can land a good one. Boudreaux patterned himself after the moving type fighters, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, those sorts.
He does have good foot movement, Boudreaux. Light-footed for a heavyweight.
His face is already reddened by left jabs.
By the way, Boudreaux weighed in at 215 3/4, LeDoux at 222. Before this fight began, LeDoux came over to George and me, leaned over the ropes, and he said, "I finally got me an easy fight, fellas." We'll find out about that.
He means it, too. I can't understand what Boudreaux would be waiting for at this point. 8 rounds just isn't enough to just wait.
Well, he's a French-Canadian stock. So is George Chuvalo. But he's not George Chuvalo because he can be knocked out. When Chuvalo was in his prime, it was the late Rocky Marciano who said, George, if all fights were 50 to 100 rounds, Chuvalo would be unbeaten.
That's a fact.
The only way they could put him down would be with a hatchet. And the end of round one, we go to Scott LeDoux's corner. Crowd wasn't especially happy. They've had so much action-packed fighting here today. They found that round a little bit tame. And the corner works gently under LeDoux's eyes, just a touch over them prior to that. Scott LeDoux, the fighting Frenchman. That's what the sign says. Johnny Boudreaux in the other corner. This youngster, very highly regarded. In a series in Sports Illustrated not too many months ago, Mark Cram started describing all the young heavyweights to come along and challenge the likes of George Foreman. And Boudreaux was one of those he focused upon and expressed the view that he had sufficient boxing talent to go, very possibly, a long, long way. And as I said, he was unbeaten and impressing everyone until last June when at the Nassau Coliseum he came a cropper against Howard Smith. Round two underway. Joey Bunce of the referee, Harold Vallant and Carol Polis of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Good right. Half picked off by the glove, but some of it got through. That's the right lead George and I told you about in the first round.
LeDoux is a roughhouse fighter. He likes it. The rougher, the better for him.
This is second round action, and there, in truth, has not been a lot of it. Well, something bordering upon a brisk exchange there. Now the crowd is awakening. In truth, the brigade of midshipmen who are here have been enthusiastic all day. Boudreaux got in a good left there, George.
Right.
I'd say his best of the fight thus far.
He's not a puncher, so he really can't lay back and wait for a good punch. He's got to be mixing it up every minute of this fight.
He's had 21 fights, Boudreaux has. He scored 7 knockouts and 19 victories with that one loss to Howard Smith and 1 draw. As for Scott, he's had 12 knockouts and 24 bouts. He's won 19, lost 4, and drew once.
Ralph Cooper, Houston's best sports announcer, believes that Boudreaux is the best prospect to come out of Houston in a long time, including me.
Including you. All right. Boudreaux back against the ropes after getting a couple into Boudreaux's body. Boudreaux trying to pour all over him, but not doing so that effectively. The action is slow. Now, don't be misled. Most of those blows were against Boudreaux's elbows. We're having the countdown toward the end of the round. Good left lead there by Boudreaux. That's what he's got to do more of.
Boudreaux is bleeding.
The bell for round 3, heavyweight United States Boxing Championship Series. Scott LeDoux, the blue trunks. Johnny Boudreaux, the yellow. Boudreaux with a big build-up behind him, and now with a new future to be fought from his point of view. Oh, quick right by LeDoux out of nowhere. Flawed Johnny Boudreaux. Quick right. The very blow we told you about. A smile crossing the fighting Frenchman's face. The talker from Minnesota's all over Boudreaux. And let me tell you right now, young Boudreaux, so roundly promising and so roundly praised some months back, if he loses this fight, faces a whole new look at his fighting life.
This is typical of Boudreaux's whole career. He's been down like this in the early rounds. He gets up and wins fights. He gets up and wins. You can't count him out at all.
That blow was quick. Came from nowhere. Got over Boudreaux's left glove.
I'm sure we'll see a boxing exhibition now. Boudreaux will move and box.
Well, he's pinioned in the corner right now, George. He's covering up well. But he doesn't get a chance to move there, and he's got a 22-foot ring to work with. Huge ring. I want to alert our viewers to the fact that a station break will be coming up at the end of this round unless something sensational happens.
Boudreaux is getting caught with left jabs. He's a little too tall to be getting hit with left jabs by a shorter opponent.
Well, there was the left in there then again. Third round action. We've had one knockdown in the fight. That in this round. It came from a quick right lead by Scott LeDoux. Landing on the left side of Boudreaux's jaw. Trying to go to the midsection, then bring the blows upward. Boudreaux covering, but LeDoux trying to do a job. Certainly, totally confident.
LeDoux meant he's going to have an easy fight. I can't believe it.
Well, it's a scheduled 8-rounder. This is the third round. We're counting down. We will return in 60 seconds with more of the United States Boxing Championships after this from our local stations. All right, this is slow-mo of the third round when LeDoux scored the knockdown. Look at that right. Right against that left jaw, Boudreaux's. Down he went. Now we're back live. This is action. Fourth round has just begun. LeDoux in the blue trunks, Boudreaux the yellow. Boudreaux came back to the corner after the third round with a pained expression on his face, and the crowd frankly booing him for his showing thus far. As I suggested in the third round, if he loses this fight, he'll have to take a whole new look at his life, reassess his career. That's how important this fight is to him in the wake of the Howard Smith defeat. By the way, the East was defeated today in the NBA All-Star game by the West, 125 to 124. Good left by Boudreaux there. Good one.
LeDoux is probably one of the toughest younger men on the quest for heavyweight title contention. He intends to rough it up. He's going to hit with his elbows, anything to win. He has proved that he's not scared of anyone. George Foreman, Mohammed, anybody. Boudreaux is going to have a fight on his hand. If he intends to win, he's got to come on now.
Fourth round. Of course, the key problem for Boudreaux as a fighter has already been touched upon by Mr. Foreman. He is not a power puncher.
And you can't do a whole lot if you don't have power waiting for one shot. You've got to land punches throughout the whole fight.
That's true. Might take a lesson from the fella you've got to fight next on March 17th, Jimmy Young. That's a tough, smart little cookie, George. He's not a power puncher, but he A, knows how to slip punches, and B, has a steady rain of blows, as you saw him in the Ron Lyle victory.
Boudreaux has a lot in common with Jimmy Young. He's able to use that ring to his advantage, escape the harder punches, and settle sometime for a light punch.
We're coming to you live from Halsey Fieldhouse, the United States Naval Academy. Boudreaux pinioned against the ropes and doing anything but taking advantage of the 22-foot ring. He is making a pallid effort indeed up to this point, and the fans begin to boo again. LeDoux trying to work Boudreaux over as we approach the end of this, the fourth round.
Some famous hits are turning to men who use Vitalis.
I try not to look obvious when I look, but I look.
Heads are turning to Vitalis.
If a man can turn, why can't I?
Heads are turning.
I don't turn for just anybody.
Heads are turning.
More women are turning to men with shorter hair. That's why more men are turning to Vitalis for that clean together, younger look. So use Vitalis.
Heads are turning.
With an ordinary credit card, we're going to prove that Edge lets you shave closer than the leading foam. First, listen to an unshaven face. Now we'll shave the left side with foam, the right with Edge. Edge lubricates as it lathers so we can press harder to shave closer than foam. Now listen to the foam side. Then listen to the Edge side. Foam, Edge. Edge lets you shave closer than the leading foam.
The bell for round 5 in what has been a dull fight up till now with just a few seconds of excitement. That came the third round when Scott LeDoux in the blue trunks with a short right floored Johnny Boudreaux in the yellow trunks. Boudreaux fighting an uninspired fight, fighting without any punching power, not showing a lot of movement in a very big ring, 22 feet. LeDoux, a journeyman type, but with strength and with eagerness. LeDoux, the clear aggressor in the bout. Boudreaux seeking to dance, and that's only good, as my colleague George Foreman has told you, if you're steadily scoring.
You have to score.
There he scored.
You fight Scott LeDoux, and he's not afraid you may get knocked out anytime. And he has courage this evening.
Fifth round action. There LeDoux working down to the midriff. Once again, Boudreaux in a corner, now coming out.
Scott LeDoux is taking charge of a world-class fighter.
Well, yes, it's true that Boudreaux was ranked 7th in the world coming into this bout, ahead of LeDoux, who's ranked 15th in the United States. But even on that last exchange, George, all we saw was one quick straight jab by Boudreaux, no follow-up, no combination, no ensuing right, no left off the left. You can't score that way.
There's no doubt in my mind, once you're floored, you begin to be overcautious. And you're a boxer, you know you don't have that telling one blow. You have to be cautious. You land once in a while, and eventually you'll take charge of the fight.
Right there, Boudreaux got the long left jab against LeDoux just seconds ago. Nothing following it up. Meanwhile, LeDoux again has him against the ropes, tries to work the belly. Boudreaux covers up well, but does not score himself.
LeDoux is not afraid. That's really
good left there by Boudreaux. Good.
Good left hook to the body by LeDoux. Now Boudreaux's left hand is starting to work better.
He'll be breaking.
Next, ABC's Wide World of Sports features speed, excitement, and danger on the asphalt at Pomona, California in the Winter National Drag Racing Championships, on the pounding surf at Hawaii's Sunset Beach in the Women's Masters Surfing Championship, and on the snow of Cervinia, Italy, as daredevil skiers try to break the incredible record of 120 miles per hour at the World Speed Skiing Championship. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
That's Scott LeDoux at his corner between the 5th and 6th rounds. We're live at ringside, the Halsey Fieldhouse, United States Naval Academy. LeDoux clearly so far, it seems to us, dominating a heavyweight fight against Johnny Boudreaux, 7th rated in the world by Ring Magazine, but not fighting anywhere close to that this afternoon at least. Boudreaux will have to come on strongly with but 3 rounds left of the scheduled 8-rounder if he's to have any hope of winning the bout. Johnny Boudreaux in the yellow trunks, Scott LeDoux in the blue. 1 knockdown, that in the 3rd round. LeDoux scored it with a short right. Boudreaux's left jaw. Now, Boudreaux, who started to pick up with the use of his left lead in the 5th round, shows flashes again in the early seconds of the 6th. There it is. See now, George. A left and then another left. Not just that one long left. Boudreaux has clearly been told by his corner that he's far enough behind that he may have lost the fight. It's now or never. Good left. This is the Boudreaux we had expected to see from the very beginning.
LeDoux is accustomed to that battery, though. He can withstand it, no doubt. You got to have a little more to it if you want to attack him.
6th round action, heavyweights, United States Boxing Championship Series. This is the 2nd quarterfinal round. We have 4 of those, 7 semifinal rounds, and 5 final rounds for a total of 16 shows. I paused in my explanation for a moment because... Oh-ho! For that very reason. Now we're beginning to get the look of a fight here.
When he uses that left hand, you have a tendency to agree with Ralph Cooper. He is a good prospect.
Sixth round action. Remember Larry Holmes, 6th rated in the world, won his quarterfinal match against Prater aboard the aircraft carrier Lexington as this dream of boxing promoter Don King's had its inception about a month ago. Oh, you saw what LeDoux did there. He got that elbow up into the Boudreaux chin and maybe even a little higher than that. And that accounts for some of the boos you hear from the crowd. Bristling lefts being thrown by Boudreaux in this round. By far his best round of the fight. By far. LeDoux trying to come back out. As we count down for the end of the 6th round, we will be breaking at the end of the round for a commercial. But Boudreaux came to at least some life here in the 6th round at the Halsey Fieldhouse.
Seems whatever you do, that look just comes through. It's confidence, confidence. You're feeling so dry, so whatever you try, you've got confidence, confidence. Millions of people each day help keep themselves dry the sure way. Take off your coat, America. Take off your coat to show. Take off your coat, America. Take off your coat to show.
Sure keeps you so dry you can take off your coat with confidence. Look, most sprays go on wet and oily, but Sure goes on dry and helps keep you dry all day.
So whatever you're looking to do, sure lets you relax and be you. Take off your coat, America. Take off your coat to shore.
The bell for round 7, heavyweights. Johnny Boudreaux in the yellow trunks, Scott LeDoux the blue. We're coming to you live from the Halsey Fieldhouse at the United States Naval Academy. We're at ringside, George Foreman, yours truly, Howard Cosell. It has been a dull fight with a brief instant of action in the 3rd round when LeDoux floored Boudreaux with a short, crisp right. And then in the 6th round, finally Boudreaux started snapping that left, doing what we had expected him to do before the fight began. So Boudreaux showed life in the 6th round. And I am told that you folks in New York who are watching are getting breakup on your screens. Please bear with us. It is not an ABC problem. At the moment, it is a telephone company problem. We hope the matter will be promptly cleared up, but we did wanted to explain the situation to you.
Boudreaux was hurt by a left jab as you were talking there. He recovered. LeDoux believed it's not how you play the game, it's winning that counts.
Back to Granny Rice. Well, that right lead, that's what Boudreaux has to be most careful of, because that's where LeDoux gets most of his power from.
I'm sure the people in Minnesota are really proud of Scott LeDoux this day. Boudreaux is still trying for a knockout. Boudreaux is trying for a knockout. That one right hand he seems to be missing.
Never had knockout power, George. We've agreed on that.
He's trying for it now, though. There's no time like tonight to get in there and knock this man out. He's behind on points. He's really got to get in there and do something. And a knockout would no doubt win this fight.
We approach the end of round 7. Listlessly fought.
Next Sunday live, the men's finals of the Superstars as defending champion Kyle Rote Jr. battles atop international field, including football's Lynn Swann, Dave Casper, and Jim Taylor. Baseball's Steve Garvey, Olympians Peter Snell, Guy Drew, and Bernard Russi. Next Sunday, live on ABC.
You're looking at Johnny Boudreaux as we are back live at the Halsey Fieldhouse at the United States Naval Academy. The 8th and final round is coming up. Johnny Boudreaux sits there in apparently good physical shape, but he shouldn't be in much shape when it comes to the scoring. There's his opponent, Scott LeDoux, who knocked Johnny down in the 3rd round, who's been the aggressor throughout the fight, has landed the stronger, the sharper blows. Johnny Boudreaux showed his life really only in the 6th round in this fight, when he started snapping that left lead of his. But it was a brief thing. LeDoux quickly went to the belly, as you saw there, with the left tactic. Boudreaux's holding on. A left caught him in the face, temporarily blinded him. He went forward and was holding on.
Boudreaux intended to knock him out this round. He does not want to lose. He's going to try for a knockout this round, I'm sure. He realized he can't box this round. He's got to go for a knockout.
Well, he better watch out or he'll be hitting the canvas himself. He's done it once.
Every punch will be his power on it. I think the body punches have taken their toll, too. The little power that Boudreaux did have, it seems to be gone.
This is 8th and final round action. The U.S. Boxing Championship Series coming to you live from the United States Naval Academy. And there are some happy youngsters here today who have already won their quarterfinals matches. We have seen some very good fighters. Ray Elson, the light heavyweight, you all saw, score a technical knockout in the 4th round over his opponent. There was a wild brawl as Casey Gasek got the decision in the middleweight classification over his opponent, a youngster named Sens. And then the welterweight, Johnny Gant, you saw him score a 2nd round technical knockout over his opponent. And then the clever lightweight, Edwin Viruet, you have seen him score a technical knockout. Referee Harold Vallon stopping that contest. Viruet, a really fine-looking fighter. And in the featherweight classification, Richard Rosell won a unanimous decision over a teammate of George's, David Vasquez, teammate in Mexico City in 1968.
It was a close decision.
We are approaching the end of this fight, which has most clearly been lackluster. That takes nothing away from the spirit and the purpose of the competitors, Scott LeDoux most particularly, but Boudreaux has not shown us what we had expected of him.
What are more people using to help their cars last?
Quaker State Motor Oil.
Sure, Quaker State. Hey, Quaker State.
Quaker State. What are more people using to help them avoid expensive engine repairs?
Quaker State.
Quaker State. What else?
Quaker State.
Quaker State.
Quaker State helps cars last. Maybe that's why Quaker State's the best-selling motor oil in America.
Hey, Ed, want a dandruff shampoo that really works? Get ready for the Denorex Tingle. Wow, it tingles!
Denorex fights dandruff with more medicine than any leading shampoo. More doctor-recommended ingredients. Used regularly, Denorex dissolves dandruff, relieves itch, leaves scalp tingling clean.
Honey, want a dandruff shampoo that really works?
Wow, it tingles!
Denorex fights dandruff with more medicine.
Beautifully.
I asked for it, I got it, Toyota. Back in December, you wouldn't believe the places I delivered to.
Thank goodness for Toyota's 2.2-liter engine. Gives me more torque than any truck in its class. And my 77 Toyota gives me the best gas mileage, too. Amazing. If you can find a better-built truck than Toyota, buy it.
You asked for it, you got it, Toyota.
Next, ABC's Wide World of Sports features speed, excitement, and danger on the asphalt at Pomona, California in the Winter National Drag Racing Championships, on the pounding surf at Hawaii's Sunset Beach in the Women's Masters Surfing Championship, and on the snow of Cervinia, Italy, as daredevil skiers try to break the incredible record of 120 miles per hour at the World Speed Skiing Championship. All next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
All right, we're back live awaiting the announcement of the decision in the Scott LeDoux, Johnny Boudreaux fight. LeDoux came over and said,
and the winner in the heavyweight bout,
never know.
John Boudreaux.
They gave it to Johnny Boudreaux. The crowd doesn't believe it. Scott LeDoux doesn't believe it. George Foreman, what do you think? Look at LeDoux leaned over the ropes. Crowd does not believe this decision. George Foreman, let me hear from you on it.
Well, to be honest with you, anything can happen into a fight, but I think this would be a time to consult the judges themselves.
Whom did you think won?
I don't like to be a judge. I'm sitting here with you, and I look at it in an entertainment manner.
All right, here comes John Boudreaux. John, can you get around here, John? I see you walking in pain. You apparently hurt your ankle. When did this happen?
The second round. Come on.
No, hey, be cool, man. Hey, be careful. Don't fight. You won the fight. What you got to prove? Don't worry about that. I mean, the fight is over. Don't fight. Forget it. You won. Hey, man. Hey.
Well, we have had everything.
I know. It's true.
We have had everything happen in our lifetime.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll be back. Yeah.
There's no way. Do we have a camera? There's no way to describe that scene other than to let it speak for itself. A disheartened, disbelieving Scott LeDoux went after a hurt and bleeding Johnny Boudreaux, who had just been awarded the decision. And so the whole thing ends wildly, ends in a mess. After a day of tremendous excitement here at the United States Naval Academy, it's not the kind of scene that you would have wanted to see happen. I'm sorry, sir, I can't. I must follow our format now and close it out. This is Howard Cosell, along with George Foreman, closing out for you, live from Halsey Fieldhouse at Annapolis, Maryland. Travel arrangements have been made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. Fly the friendly skies of United, where you're the boss. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. This Howard Cosell live at ringside, the Halsey Fieldhouse, Annapolis, Maryland, the United States Naval Academy. Just before we went off the air, just after it was announced that Johnny Boudreaux had been awarded a decision over Scott LeDoux, that clearly was an unpopular decision, judging by the reactions of the crowd, and I myself had thought LeDoux had won. Over came LeDoux as I was about to interview Boudreaux, who had sprained an ankle, and Boudreaux's man went, or rather Scott's man went after Boudreaux, as you can see there, and just an unbelievable scene, a bad brawl. Now, standing here with me is Scott LeDoux, who has just witnessed what happened on the monitor as I was talking. And Scott, look up there to the camera, if you will, the unfortunate loser of that decision. You wanted to say something.
First, I want to apologize for the going after Johnny Boudreaux, but I felt I won the fight. I felt it was clear. But when I was up in Montreal a month ago working out for this fight, they told me not to take it. They said that the odds are against you. That's Braverman's fighter, the King's people. They own Boudreaux. They're not going to give you the decision. I said, if I beat the guy bad on national television, they can't steal it from me. They did it. They stole it from me as far as I'm concerned. It's what hurts boxing for the last 10 years. Decisions like this, and there's nothing you can do about it. I got mad, but I apologize for it. That's not the place to fight. I did my fighting in there, and I should have left it there because that's where it's supposed to be.
Scott, these are extremely strong allegations. I understand your passion of the moment and your disappointment in the decision. But I don't think those allegations can be substantiated. I want to tell you that, frankly and flatly.
All right, who owns Larry Holmes? Don King. Johnny Boudreaux is owned by Patty Flood, who works close at hand with Don King. If you look in there, you'll find it. Al Braverman is a matchmaker for every fighter in this tournament, including myself. But Johnny Boudreaux is owned by Patty Flood and Company.
I have no desire to cut you off.
I'm not. That's what I don't want to say anymore because that's just bad.
No, that's all right. You'll be saying it. You'll be saying it to the press, and we're in the same position as the press, and you're entitled to have your say. So you've been given that, and we'll see what happens based upon your charges.
Howard, I really am
Good
sorry.
luck. It's all right. Now let's move on over to Bill Fleming at Pomona as we resume with ABC's Wide World of Sports.
In the United States Boxing Championships. And right now, let's go down there and join my battered but dead game colleague, Howard Cosell.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Howard Cosell, talking to you live from a now virtually empty Halsey Fieldhouse at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And because we had to go off the air so abruptly, and there was such a mess that had evolved, I'm taking you back in time right now as you look at your monitor. After the last heavyweight fight, in which Johnny Boudreaux unanimously was awarded a most unpopular decision over Scott LeDoux, there was this scene of LeDoux going over and taking a punch at Boudreaux. Boudreaux, who had sprained his ankle, apparently, because he had limped out of the ring, then swung back, and there ensued a kind of brawl and mess, and so on. Now, at that time, we virtually had to go off the air, and so, in fact, we did. We came back a little bit later with Scott LeDoux, who registered his disappointment and also registered his apologies to us and to the American Broadcasting Company for his behavior. But he then let loose with a series of charges, the first being that the fight was fixed. So I have here with me now the referee, Joe Bunce, who voted in this balloting and who has been a referee for 30 years here in the Washington and Baltimore area. Joe, I have your card here, which says you voted 3 rounds Boudreaux, 2 even, and 2 for LeDoux, and 3 even. Now, Joe, the charge that the fight was fixed. Your answer.
I think that's ridiculous, Howard. Ridiculous. In the first place, it was a terrible fight. Not much action. It was a dull fight, as you know it was.
Well, I characterized it
now,
as such.
In regards to the scoring system, here we use the round system. Sure, Boudreaux was knocked down one of the rounds, but that's all he won, was just that one round that he lost was the round that he was knocked down. That was the only round that naturally he lost. So, but if it was the point system, Scott probably would have won the fight. But being that we have the round system here, he lost the fight. Scott lost the fight.
And your direct reply to his charge that the fight was fixed
is... It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Absolutely, Howard.
All right,
ridiculous.
Joe. Thank you very much. Let me just repeat for our viewership. You scored at 3 rounds Boudreaux, 2 LeDoux, and 3 even. Now, Chris Polis, Mrs. Polis from Philadelphia, another seasoned judge, this lady, voted at 4 rounds Boudreaux, 3 LeDoux, 1 even. Harold Vallon, the veteran referee from New York, scored at 5 rounds Boudreaux, 3 LeDoux. There is nothing more subjective in sport than the judgment of a boxing bout. Remember all the furor over Young versus Ali and Norton versus Ali. So, as I said, there is nothing more subjective than the judgment of a boxing bout. That stated, let me turn... I'll release you now, Joe, if you're in a hurry to get back to Washington. Thank you very much, sir. I want to turn to the promoter, Don King, who conceived this tournament. You heard my conversation just now, sir, with the referee. Let's take it a step further, because LeDoux's charges did not end with his statement that the fight was fixed. He went on further. He said the whole tournament was, in effect, a sham, saying that you, the promoter, and 2 of your principal aides, Patty Flood and Al Braverman, indeed controlled many, if not most, of the fighters in the tournament. And so you were a part of his verbal indictment. What do you say to his charges, sir?
I say that's absurd, Howard. I think that the man is naturally wounded because he lost a decision that he thought he might have won. I'm not a boxing judge, so I don't try to render a decision. I'm just a fan. So I let the boxing commissions and the committee that we have of impeccable reputations of the James Farley and Ken Sherwood and Manny Gonzalez and Nat Lubay and Johnny Ort and Howard McCall of Philadelphia be the judges on the committee who brings the judges here. The Maryland State Athletic Commission participated in this fight, and they saw it that way. That's the way it is.